Shout out to Stevie Wonder. All right, let's get ready to do this, man. All right, so what's good, homies? What's good? What's good? It's your man, King Ray Ray. Welcome back to the kingdom. If you want to be a part of this super duper live chat, go ahead over to the main channel page, King Ray Ray Show. Click the join button. Join. Come back out. Click the subscribe button if you haven't already. And come on over here to the live chat, man, where we discuss the type of things that men need to know and do to really improve their position. Not just in their own lives, but in the elevation of the spirit world and their spirit man. So today, man, we're going to take a brief hiatus from our dive into the book of Proverbs, and we're going to discuss something that I'm getting a lot of requests for. Ellen DeGeneres, man, her DJ recently, we all know about that tragedy, and I wasn't going to come over here and speak about that expressly because, there's really no need to speak on it. It's not going to bring the brother back. But there have been a couple of other cases of that we've discussed over the past couple of months or so. And I just want to take a dive into the spiritual, I guess, low aptitude that has to take place in order for a man to get to that point. And if any of you men are at that point or have thought about being at that point or are teetering back and forth from, being happy, being sad, being happy, being sad, then I want to try to touch on some of the spiritual foundation improvements that you can do or particular exercises you can do to improve your spiritual astuteness, which is very necessary in order to truly become the most alpha version of yourself. So salute to everybody in the building. Salute to the kingdom. Harlem World, SJ3, my brother, salute. I see you, Keith Ginseng, salute, royalty, salute, Markel. What up, young brother? Good to see you in the building, man. Let's get ready to do this, man. I'm not going to hold you guys in here too long, man. I know you're, moving and grooving, trying to recover from, being completely slowed down over the holidays, especially yesterday. So let's get to it. The topic for today is don't give up on God because he won't give up on you. As a matter of fact, he will never give up on you. Even at your darkest moment, no matter what it is, God hasn't given up on you. But let's cover the elephant in the room. Own up to the decisions you've made that led to your current conditions. See, there are decisions that we make every day, and there are consequences and repercussions to every decision. Sometimes small decisions have major repercussions. Sometimes the biggest decisions have smaller consequences. But it doesn't matter. Every single decision you make has a consequence or repercussion. And as men, what we have to do is understand that. Now, put a one in the chat if you can hear me loud and clear, man. If everything's copacetic with the audio, go ahead and throw a one in the chat for me. Before we continue, I'll see these ones in the chat and see if there's an adjustment I need to make of any sort. Again, man, we're on our traveling setup, which is the Yeti mic with the Logitech 922 webcam, which, it's decent footage for what it is. Okay, let's get to it. Blame yourself before you blame God. Make sure you have covered all of the bases that you need to cover. Look at the decisions you've made, the decisions you haven't made, the moves you should have made, the move you shouldn't have made, the things you decided not to do, the things you decided to do, the people you decided to be around, the people you decided not to be around. At any point, did your proud and haughty spirit cause any of the situations that you have going on? Your unwillingness to listen and take guidance, Has that caused you to be in the situation that you're in? All of these things have to be considered. Because what you have to understand, accountability is the Lord's delight. When you take accountability for your part, then he will gladly step in and do his. But you have to be accountable for your part in every single move you make, every single decision you make, every single advantage you take, every single opportunity you pass on. You have to make sure that you do your due diligence in making sure that you're not being your own worst enemy, that you're not the cause of all of your issues. And at that point, then you can sit down. And I promise you, if you do that, a lot of the times you will just have to embrace the fact that most of these things are of your own doing. I think that's one of the major problems in this society. People deal with consequences that are of their own doing, and they want some sympathy. They want someone to bail them out of that. They want someone to look at them and say, well, is it your fault? Well, guess what? If it is your fault, then you better embrace that. Any decision you make, the consequence of that decision is on you. It's not going to affect anyone else. No one else is going to, you know, have to be homeless because you don't pay your bills. I mean, you and your family. No one else is going to have to be locked up doing time when you commit a crime, unless you tell on somebody. The reality is, every situation you find yourself in can be traced back to a decision that you made. Let me tell y'all something, and this is real. God will not punish you for doing right. If things are going on in your life, God will not punish you for doing right. So if you believe God is allowing something to take place in your life, then you have to look at your life. You have to look at your life and see what that thing is that's causing God to look at you this way. What have you done that offends God? What have you done that makes God view you as less than the type of man he thought you would be? He taught you to be. He expected you to be. At what point did you do something that you know you shouldn't have done? See, you can't do something you know you shouldn't have done, and then when the consequences come, you think you're going to be relieved of the consequences. You're going to be absolved of the consequences. You're not. Be willing to accept the consequences of your evil actions. Whatever energy you put into the world, expect that energy back. If you put positive energy into the world, you get negative energy back. Guess what? You're not putting positive energy into the world. You think you are. That's why when guys try to change definitions, or people in your life who try to change the definitions of words, words already have a definition. You don't get to be born and suddenly say, well, I'm going to change the definition of words. No, you don't do that. These words have definitions. So you're not going to do something bad and then tell yourself, well, it's good because of me. And I think, no, you know right from wrong. You learn right from wrong really young. And you also learn that there are consequences and repercussions for doing wrong. You know this. That is why I say you must build your relationship with God by living a life that pleases Him. You have to live a life that's pleasing to God, man. That's how you get your blessings. You don't get blessed just by willing and nilling and going around and doing whatever you want to do. You get blessings by living a life that's pleasing to God. Yes. Is it going to be difficult? Yes. If you keep surrounding yourself with people who aren't on that same journey. This whole thing about being popular and fitting in and having all these people around and being buddies and being business partners and doing all this, man, and trying to chase every single dollar and trying to chase every single woman and trying to chase every single opportunity. Hey, man, let me tell you something. Everything ain't for everybody. And some of those things you chasing, if you're chasing anything just for the sole purpose of making money, then that thing ain't for you. You're just trying to chase money. If you're chasing anything for the sole purpose of being popular, that thing ain't for you. You're just trying to be popular. If you're chasing anything to make you feel better about yourself, that thing ain't for you. You just need to feel good about yourself. And all of these things can be fixed if you build your relationship with God by living a life that's pleasing to Him. All of the things you need to unlock spiritually will be unlocked if you begin to live a life that's pleasing to God. Then you have to worry about being at a point where you want to give up because you will know for a fact that God will never give up on you. Now, am I saying life is going to be easy? No, we know that. Life will be hard sometimes, but never unbearable. Never unbearable. You know how we say God will not place more on you than you can bear? It's not that he won't place a heavier load on you than you can bear. It's the fact that when the load gets so heavy you can't bear, he'll take the rest of the weight. You're never going to be weighed down so much that you can't carry the load. It may take every ounce of energy you got to carry the load, but so what? At least you got the energy. If you got to lose, sometimes you got to use every ounce of your energy. You don't get to just have reserve energy all the time. You want great things in life. You want positive things in life. You want blessings in life. Okay, well, be prepared to carry the heavy load sometimes. But you're not going to have to carry the heavy load your whole life unless you make decisions that put you in a position where you got to carry the heavy load your entire life. Most of us are not going to carry the heavy load our entire lives. Life just isn't going to be that way for us. But for those times you have to carry the heavy load, carry it. And at the very moment you run out of energy, how you think you're carrying a heavier load than you thought you ever could? You're not carrying that load. God got the rest of it. If you carry yours, He's gonna carry the excess until the load get light enough for you to carry again. But you don't know this if you don't build a relationship with God that's based on you respecting, honoring, and upholding the principles and precepts that God has laid out for us to follow. Are you going to be perfect? No. Some of those things we're not going to do. We're not going to burn sacrifices and do all of that. But instead of worrying about what you can't do, yeah, you can't even do the parts you're supposed to do. We talk about these abominable foods and consuming these beverages, alcoholic beverages, and all of these things. How do you think that's correct? How do you think you can be a godly man? How do you think you can be a righteous man? How do you think you can be a man who puts positive energy into the world when you don't even have positive energy within yourself? When you're putting abominable meats into your body, when you're always inebriated by something, when you're addicted to painkillers or whatever it is that's going on in your life, how can you as a man believe that you will put positive energy into the world? Oh, because you make a little money? Okay, well, some of the most evil people in the world make a lot of money. A lot of money. You find them. Penitentiary is full of people. But sitting behind the wall ain't gonna never get out. Millionaires. Had plenty of money before they went in and gonna have plenty of money when they pass and still got money to leave to their people behind. So let's not sit and act like you can judge your righteousness or anyone's righteousness by their material possessions. See, even when we talk about the stormy periods in life, no storm lasts forever. No storm lasts forever. Even the 40 days of Noah's flood, it didn't last forever. It seemed like it lasts forever, but 40 days ain't forever. No storm lasts forever. Eventually, the sun shines after every storm. So in life, when it's raining outside, do you think about just ending it all? Do you think about giving up on God? Do you think about giving up on yourself? No. You find shelter until the storm is over. Sometimes you got to be out there in the storm, but nobody has to be consistently out there. If you can go stand under a tree, you still not in the storm. Go stand under the interstate overpass. You know what I see a lot of time when I'm traveling? I'm traveling, it's raining. I see guys on motorcycles. You know what I see them doing? It's pouring down rain. You know what they are? They're up under the overpass, just waiting it out. Now, they can't move. I pass right by them. They can't move, but they're not going backwards. So even the stormiest storm doesn't push you backwards. But you only understand these principles and precepts and ideologies if you have built your relationship with God to have the wisdom, understanding, and knowledge to pursue things from the proper perspective with your spirit man, not with your carnal man. And you know what I see? I get on up the road a little bit, the rain stops. Suddenly I see them guys from the motorcycle come and past me speeding. You know why? Because when the storm stops, they can increase their output. They can increase their speed. They can increase their workload. They can catch up. Over time, if you put in double the work, you can catch back up after every storm. Look how the world is replenished after the flood of Noah. If that can happen, you mean tell me you can't make it through a little storm in your life? You think because it's storming, God gave up on you? You think because times are a little rough, God gave up on you, fool? Come on, man, you know better than that. And I say fool because if you believe that, then that's foolish thoughts. Negative people bring doom and gloom by default. And a lot of times when it's storming, you got people around you say, "Oh, the rain is so bad. Woe is me for the rain. Oh man, it's flooding out there. Oh, look, I can't go to work today. Oh man, look at my crops. Oh Lord, what's going?" You got these doom and gloom people around you who are always going to view everything from the most negative perspective. That's why you have to keep people with positive energy around you. Famo, salute. You have to keep people with positive energy around you. You must. King Abraham, salute. It negative people can't even help it. They are negative because they don't have a relationship with God. They haven't established their relationship with God. They have given up on themselves because they believe that there ain't no God. How can you believe that God won't give up on you when you don't even believe there is one? Do you know the majority of people you know don't believe there is a God? The majority of people you know are atheists, man. Look at the way they live their lives. If you think there is God, there must be some fear in you to not live that life. If you live a completely foul life, a completely evil life, then deep down inside, you don't believe there is God. You don't believe in God. You don't believe He exists. You believe you can do whatever you want to do, and some kind of way science is going to fix it, or some type of natural disaster is going. You believe in all type of foolishness. So when people live their lives a certain way, you look at them, I'm like, man, you don't believe in God, man. I don't. Let me tell y'all something, man. And this is one of the biggest decisions that you can make in your life. It's going to be the toughest decision, but it's going to be a big decision. I don't interact with people on a personal level who don't believe in God. People who don't live a life, even attempt to live a life that's pleasing to God, I don't deal with those people. You're gonna see me hanging out with people, man, who eat pork and seafood and catfish and all these type of things, man, and who drink and smoke and do all that. Man, you're not gonna see me with those type of people. I don't even do business with those type of people, man. Like personal business, like we meet, sit down. Let's say we go to a business lunch and sit down, man. You sit down, eat some shrimp and pork, whatever deal we got on table, it's finna be off. Because for me, it ain't all about money. It has never been, and it never will be. I'm a minimalist. Doesn't take a whole lot for me to live comfortably. I'm talking about live comfortably. Don't take a whole lot for me to live comfortably. I'm human. The temptation is there to buy this and buy that and do this and live here and do that. But when it all boils down, man, I'm a minimalist. I'm perfectly fine with living a minimalist life. My resources are not meant for me to blow them on living a lifestyle. And so people who view life like that, we're not going to be in the same room. We're not going to be chilling. We're not going to be friends. We're not going to be any of that. The last thing you need in this world is a friend who isn't going in the same direction you're going. Last thing you need in this world are team workers who are not going in the same direction you're going. The last thing you need in this world is anyone around you who's going to bring any type of energy around that could make God look at you and say, you know better than to have that energy around you. I'm going to have to punish you. See, what negative people don't understand is, yes, it could be better, but it could be much, much worse. The difference between negative people and positive people, we count our blessings, negative people count their curses. They talk about what's bad, we talk about what's good. They talk about what's bad, even though what's bad doesn't outweigh what's good. But if you talk about what's bad long enough, the good will leave you. Then the bad will outweigh the good. Then the bad will certainly outweigh the good. Always count your blessings. When you're feeling down on yourself, and remember your past curses when you forget to be humble. See, for us, remembering the curses, remember the bad things, remember the negative energy, that's what we have to do to keep ourselves humble in the face of the blessings. That's what keeps you in the fold when you keep receiving the blessings. You don't start to elevate yourself above other people just because you're being blessed. It's not you. You're just doing the work. You hoping that the work pans out. The work don't pan out for everybody. Putting in work don't plan out for everybody. Doing the work don't pan out for everybody. Some people are generationally cursed. Some people have brought a curse onto themselves. Some people are the beginning of a generational curse where their son and their son's sons will be cursed because of their actions. Remember, always count your blessings when you're feeling down on yourself, when you're feeling like giving up on you. Because when you give up on you, you give up on God, you give up on the belief in God. When you give up on that, then it's over for you. So always, always count your blessings, but always remember your curses. So when you get to the point where you think it's time to give up, first you got to clean up your life. Before you remove yourself, remove the negative people, places, and things from your life. Or should I say, remove the negative people and things from your life, and then remove yourself from the negative places. The greatest tool you have is the ability to remove yourself. You can't force nobody else to do nothing, but the ability to remove yourself. As a free man out here, you are kidding yourself. You are taking advantage of yourself. You are doing yourself a disservice if you don't take advantage of your ability to remove yourself. See, sometimes it's not about where you go, it's about where you are and what you can remove from that environment. Remove everything you can. And if that doesn't work, then it's the environment. You got people that go through life just flying by the seat of their pants. They don't know where to go here, where to go there, where to go there, but everywhere they go, they bring in the same negative people and the same negative energy with them. You understand? If you have a gambling habit in Las Vegas and you move to Louisiana, you're still gonna have a gambling habit. They got casinos too. Remove yourself the boys of Idaho. Give yourself some time to overcome that thing. See, it's up to you to go through the process of putting yourself in the best position. Sometimes the process is long, tedious, and sometimes the happens in a snap. Either way, you got to assume that the process is going to be long and tedious. So when it happens in a snap, it's just a pleasant surprise. But before you remove yourself, remove the negative people and things from your life and remove yourself from the negative places. Stop thinking that you're going to get a better result by doing the same things. You're not going to even get the same result. You're going to eventually start to get a worse result. Change your input if you want to receive a different output. If you want to receive, or you can flip that the other way, change your output if you want to receive a different input. Change what you do before you change the expectations of what you're going to receive in return. That's what you have to do. Now, I will say this. The main thing that I think happens is we forget to keep positive, non-judgmental people around us. It's hard to find positive people. That's why if we spend that's why we spend a majority of the time by ourselves. Put a one in the chat if you spend a majority of the time by yourself. Not because you some hermit or some recluse or something, but it's just because you know around yourself you're gonna have positive energy. Now, if you got to get up and go to work every day, you can't control that environment. You know what I'm saying? You gotta, put your headphones on, or put your earbuds in, or do whatever. But the majority of your free time, if you spend the majority of your free time by yourself, put a one in the chat. Now, people will say that we're reclusive. People will say, man, you got to get out and you got to do this and you got to mingle with people. Hey, man, you got to go out, man. You got to meet women, man. Hey, go out, man. You got to network. You got to do all of this. Network for what? All the networking they talk about is for money, for popularity. You don't never hear them talk about networking to build a better relationship with God. You don't hear them talking about networking to build a better relationship with people who stand on the same principles and precepts you stand on. You'll never hear them talking about that. It's always network to do something else. Chase money. Chase money. Don't chase spiritual astuteness. Forget about being spiritually astute. Don't worry about that. That ain't gonna get you rich. The problem is it does get you rich. It gets you rich internally. So when all the financial things, all the external things go away, you're still rich. You take that same man who's basing riches on those external things, then all of those things go away, then he's back to being poor and destitute because he's poor and destitute spiritually. A poor, destitute man spiritually, when he loses all of those things, he will give up on himself. And in essence, he will give up on God. Because God didn't give up on him, he gave up on himself. Now, I don't want to sound insensitive about this because this is a major thing that people are dealing with in their lives, but we'll get into the basis of it. This is the foundation of that energy. We look at life from a totally different perspective, not because we're better or worse, but we are better. If you're a man, if you're a man who understands the need to build and develop your relationship with God, then you are better than a man who doesn't. Let's stop acting like we're not better. Let's stop acting like nobody is better than anyone else. Let's stop acting like understanding who you are and understanding that your spirit man is the guide of everything you do. Let's not act like that doesn't make you better than someone who is totally unaware of that. It does. So when you keep positive, non-judgmental people around, then you tend to have people around who've been there consistently through thick and thin. So you don't want people to come through there when it's thick, when everything gravy. That's the time we stand alone the most. Because I'm like, man, listen, I already know people have ulterior motives, but the people who've been there with you through thick and thin, even when it comes to relationship, that's how a woman earns her position by being with you through thick and thin. Bunch of women to be with you through thick, and then when thin comes, they out. The majority of them, to be perfectly honest with you. Your friends. Yeah, they're your friends when it's thick, let things get thin. Where are you, my friends? My friends, where are you? Where have you gone, my friends? They're gone. So you have to make people earn the right to be in your presence when you know that you're building positive energy, when you know that you're developing an environment that's filled with blessings, that's filled with righteous joys, that's filled with all types of things that a man should be following and pursuing in his life to give himself peace of mind. You have to protect that environment from those who just want to soak up the environment without contributing anything to it. If you can't keep positive, non-judgmental people around you who've been there through thick and thin, it's better to walk alone. That's why we spend the majority of our time alone. Because unless you have those type of people around, it's better to walk alone. It's more effective to walk alone. It's more efficient to walk alone. It's more beneficial to walk alone. It's more spiritually astute to walk alone. It is more pleasing to God to walk alone. That's just the reality of it. Like Famo said, my presence is the present to others. The things that God has gifted me with makes me a gift in the life of others. I am a gift. And so the thing you must do the most is stand on who you are. Be that gift. God has blessed you and made you somebody else, man. You are something, you are someone that anyone who meets you has never met before. Nothing like you. You must believe that. And people will tell you, oh, you're being cocky, you're being pompous, you're being facetious. No, I'm being real. I'm being honest. I'm being righteous. You must protect the blessing that you are. Because people only want to benefit from the blessing. Mess around and change from who you are for somebody and see how fast they flee. One thing we understand is ulterior motives. And so if you don't have this outlook on life, things get tough, you give up. Why? Because you got people around you who abandon you. I don't care how tough you are. I don't care how righteous you are. I don't care how manly you are. I don't care how nothing you are. If you got a bunch of people around you and when things get tough, they give up on you and abandon you, you're going to feel bad. Abandonment feels like abandonment. When people leave you in tough times, you feel that. You're in an absolutely vulnerable mental state. And in that mental state, abandonment will make you give up on you, which in turn means you gave up on God. That's just the reality of it, man. We're not making this up. We're not trying to put anybody in a particular headspace that makes you feel like, I don't know about that. King Ray Ray, you just, you know. Nope. I'm telling you what's real, man. That's why we live the way we live. That's why we protect that environment. That's why we travel solo, because the more people you let around you, the more people you have that will abandon you when times get rough. And there's nothing like having everybody around when things are good. You thinking these people love you. You thinking these people care about your well-being. And then when things get bad, they're gone. You have then accept the fact that you have not been living a spiritually astute life. You have not been doing the type of things that protect you from your own self. You have not been doing the things that will make God pleased with you and make him bless you with the wisdom, understanding, knowledge to be able to perceive what is going on around you. You have to accept the fact that you have failed yourself. You have failed yourself. That's a tough decision, man. It's a tough thing to accept that you have let yourself down, that you have put yourself in harm's way. It will drive you to give up on you. That's why you must develop your relationship with God, man. You got to develop it. You have to. You have to, man. You have to do it, man. It's a tough pill, and sometimes it's a tough thing to accept, but eventually you have to accept it. You have to accept it. So, 10 ways to make sure you don't give up on God, because he won't give up on you. He will never give up on you. Number one, remember life will be hard sometimes, but never unbearable. Never unbearable. You just have to remember it won't be unbearable, because when it becomes more than you can bear, God will take over the added load. He's going to take over the whole load for you. You still going to be grinding and using every ounce of energy you got, but he's going to take over the added load, the little extra you need to make it to the next step. Number two, believe that if you put in the work and live life the right kind of way, you will receive the blessings. Believe that. Because if you don't believe it, then you're not going to try to live the right kind of way. You can't just be somebody who you're not going to do something that has no benefit. We're human. Let's be honest. We're not going to do something that has no benefit. It's all about what kind of benefit you want. Now, you're not going to do this anyway if all you're looking for is a financial benefit. But if you're looking for a benefit of spiritual astuteness and protection and ability to protect yourself and those who you deem worthy of your protection in your environment from the evil that encompasses us roundabout all day long, every day in this environment, then believing that is the only way that you're going to live this life, man. Number three, remember, no storm lasts forever. Even the 40 days of Noah's flood didn't last forever. It was 40 days, seemed like forever, but it wasn't. Eventually, the sun will shine. You just have to wait out the storm. Wait in whatever shelter you can. Maybe you're not going to be all the way dry. Maybe not. Put your jacket over your head. It still might get wet a little bit, but even if you've got an umbrella, if the rain blowing sideways, you're still going to get wet. Use whatever shelter you can. No one has to be just out in the storm, just being rained on. We're not wild animals. We don't live in the Serengeti, but we just got to sit out there and wait and just get rained on. We're more blessed than that. Number four, negative people bring doom and gloom by default. Get those people from around you. They can't benefit you. All they can do is be a detriment to your life. There's nothing positive they're ever going to bring, because they don't even want positive in their own lives. They have begun to embrace doom and gloom as a way of life. And all they can do is bring negative doom and gloom to you by default. Number five, remember, it could be better, but it could also be much worse. So always count your blessings when you're feeling down on yourself. The same way you got to remember your curses and the hard times when you forget to be humble during the up time. See, the up times can last forever. All this up and down roller coaster life, that's based on your decisions. You can get up and stay up forever, but you got to be humble. You got to be humble. You still got to be hungry. You still got to be diligent. You still got to be focused. You still got to have drive and determination. You can do that. Number six, before you remove yourself from life, remove the negative people and negative things from your life. And if that's not enough, then remove yourself from the negative places. Matter of fact, don't even worry about waiting. Remove the people and things, and remove yourself from the negative places. Period. You don't have to wait. Do it all at once. Figure out those things. Sit down. Make a list. Things I need to keep. Things I need to do away with. Do away with the things you need to do away with. Easy. Easy. We make it more complicated than it really is. It's not a complicated thing. Do that. Before you remove yourself, Remove the negative people and things from your life and remove yourself from the negative places. 9 times out of 10, you remove yourself from the negative places, you'll instantly start to remove the people and things anyway. Or if you move the people and things, then the negative places won't even be the same no more because when you go there, the people gonna be there. So you really can't lose if you just start that process. One thing is going to lead to another, even if you don't do them all at the same time. They're going to lead to one another. Number 7, own up to the decisions you made that led to your current conditions. Understand that the consequences and repercussions of your decisions are yours to own. God don't have to take those. He don't have to come and say, "Okay, I'm gonna save you from your decision." He don't have to say that. He's not gonna say that. You're a grown man. You know what you're doing. You know what the possible consequences and repercussions of your decisions are going to be. You know that. That's why you can't live based on what society wants you to do. You can't live based on what someone tells you. Well, this is what you ought to do. If you were a man, you would do this. If you were a woman, you would do this. You ain't got to listen to nobody. You got to, if you build your relationship with God, God going to tell you who you need to be, and you just be that. Follow your spirit. Blame you before you blame God. Because remember, accountability is the Lord's delight. He loves for you to be accountable. When you're accountable for your decision, he say, well, within you, my son, I'm well pleased. Number 8, keep positive, non-judgmental people around who've been there consistently through thick and thin. If you don't have anybody around who've been there through thick and thin, you don't need nobody around you. You understand? You got to see how somebody gonna be. You can't trust anyone who hasn't been around you during thin times. You just can't, because you don't know what. It doesn't matter how great they are when times are good. You never know what they're gonna do when times are bad. You have to see it. It doesn't matter what their words say. This shouldn't even be a discussion. You should wait. You should see what they're going to do. And tough time don't mean everything goes bad. Tough times can mean anything. It could mean things change. Things get a little thin for a minute as you're making the transition. Think about this. If you are making a business transition and it's taking a serious investment of resources, where things had to tone down for a minute, how's a person going to respond to that? How's anyone around you going to respond to that? Now, we're not talking about you making bad decisions and it eventually ends terribly. No, we're not talking about that. We're talking about natural occurrences where you're expanding or you're building, and then you have to kind of ease out on excess everything. How's a person going to be around then? You never know until they show. Remember that. Because if you can't have positive, non-judgmental people around who are going to be there through thick and thin, man, then it's better to walk alone. Number 9, build your relationship with God by living a life that's pleasing to him. That's the only way to build a relationship with God. You don't build a relationship with God by doing bad things, and when things get bad, oh, Lord, help me, Lord, please, help me, Lord, please. That's not how you build a positive relationship with God. You build a positive relationship with God by living your life a certain way, by making the tough decision to do the right thing when the wrong thing is so much fun. It gives so much short-term satisfaction. Still do the right thing. Do the right thing when the only reward is the reward that you'll be pleasing God. That's how you build a relationship with God. And if you don't build a relationship with God, it's going to be easier for you to give up. It's going to be a whole lot easier for you to give up. And number 10, be willing to accept the consequences and repercussions of your evil actions. Be willing to accept them. Don't get mad about them when you know you made the decision. Don't get mad. Don't get weak. Don't get soft. Stand up, man up, take it, because you did it. And remember, God will not punish you for doing right. So if you blame it on God, you got to ask yourself what you did to get that, because he ain't going to give you nothing you don't deserve. The same way you shouldn't give anybody anything they don't deserve. So, look, brothers, I appreciate y'all being in here, man. King Ray in the joint. Appreciate y'all blessing the kingdom with your presence, man. And we'll be back in this thing tomorrow morning, man. Same time, same station. Maybe we'll do it earlier tomorrow, man, because I need to get on the road, man. I got to do some traveling. So we'll do it earlier tomorrow, man. But we'll be in here, man. Let's have a blessed day, man, and be easy out there, man. And whatever you do, everything you're doing, put God first, and he'll make sure that you don't come last. So I appreciate y'all being in the joint, man. SJ3, Famo, appreciate y'all being here. Mod Squad represent. Kingdom, salute to y'all, new members. new subscribers. Hey, man, I appreciate it. Let's keep this thing going, man. All right, man. Let's head out of here.